G'day guys! So for today's video I am going to be doing a bit of a how-to on how to make your own custom decals and internal paint masks. So one of the things that I've been getting into is making my own decals or stickers and also internal paint masks. Now, internal paint masks are what, if you've been around RC for a long time with radio control cars, you may be familiar with a company called XXX Main. Now, XXX Main have been around for a very long time. Not too sure if they still are around, but they're known for making custom decals and custom internal paint masks and also internal decals as well. So I've been doing that myself. So what I'm going to do is this video is going to show you how to do both in a simplistic way, I guess you could say. Now, some of you may not be able to do this, that is fine, but if you want to have a go at it, that's also fine. There are some things you need. So what I'm going to do is, we're not going to go to the workbench, we're actually going to go into my dining room because that's where I have my things set up. So because there's no space in here for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut to the dining table and we're going to carry on from there. Alright, so as you can see here, I have a couple of examples here of what I've been doing. So we have my 1/8 GT car and my 1/10 touring car, and as you can see here, I have made internal decals. Well, what I did is I made internal paint masks for the cars, so I can have my own custom like livery. And also, if you know, especially with nitro, when the exhaust comes out, the methanol, unburnt methanol and so forth, and the oil will get over your decals and that. And after a period of time, it dissolves the adhesive that holds them on and they come off. So, plus you can also have whatever you want in whatever color you want. So, as you can see, I have WIRC, Futaba and so forth. Here I have like Hobby Wing and that. So, it's relatively easy to do. You do need some equipment to do this, so I know this video won't be for everyone. However, I will still go through with you how to do it. So what we'll do is we'll go over here and I will show you what you need. So first and foremost, what I use is a vinyl cutter. So I have here a Cricut Explore 3. This is what cuts out the custom vinyl decals and internal masks. You will also need a computer or mobile device depending on the program that you're using. So obviously, because I have the Cricut Explore 3, I am using a Cricut program. For that, you will also need vinyl. So for the internal paint masks, I use Cricut Smart removable vinyl. There we go. So this is removable. That way, once you've finished painting, you can peel it off and then paint over where you've peeled away the vinyl. You will, for permanent decals and so forth, you will obviously need permanent vinyl. So I have gold here. And obviously you will need the shells. So this is a 8-scale buggy shell for my EP8 buggy, and I have a 1/10 BMW shell for my drift car. So what we're going to do is, first off, I will show you how to do the internal masks, and then it's relatively the same process for external decals, just a little bit different. So what I'll do is I will get everything ready and we will carry on. Alright, so what we have here, this, for if you've never used anything like this before, so this is the Cricut design app, program. So this is what I use for making my vinyl masks and decals and things like that. So there are quite a lot of other things that you can do with this program. However, I am just going to show you the basics. So first of all, what we're going to do is, as you can see here on the screen, we have blank canvas. So what I'm going to do this as best I can one-handed. So what we're going to do is figure out a design. Now, as we see here, I have we're going to start with the external decals first. So we have here a BMW M30, and what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to do a replica livery. It's pretty basic. It's going to be black. If you are familiar with the Australian Touring Car Series in the early 90s, you'll be familiar with a race driver named Jim Richards, and he is this guy. And during the 90s he raced a BMW E30 in the John Player Special livery. So in order to do this, first of all you need a bit of a reference. So in my case, here we have a picture of the car that he raced. It's got someone else's name because it's currently owned by this particular person. However, this is the livery I'm going to do. You probably can't see everything too well, but it pays to have some pictures of the car. Well, this is I think this is a slot car. This is a slot car. That's the real one. Here's some drawings of the ones that were raced, so that way you can get a reference of the decals, where they're placed, how big they are, to put them onto the car. So first of all, what we need is to get a rough idea how big they are. So what we will do first is we'll go over and we'll go select our pictures. So in this case, first we're going to do the JPS logo. Now I went over, got a few. So this is the original logo here, but we'll be doing this one. So we'll click on it and add to canvas. Alright, so in the pictures there are three of these logos. Now, as we see here, we have to figure out how big it's going to be. So what I have here is some digital calipers to give me a reference on how big the logo will need to be on the side of the doors and on the bonnet or hood for those playing at home. And we also need to figure out like the number 3 and the little square that goes around it. So what I'm going to do, guys, is because I'm trying to do this one-handed, I'm going to pause here for a quick second and I'll be back with a rough measurement. Alright, so if we zoom, I'm not too sure how this is going to come out on the camera. I'll try and do my best so you can see. but damn it. So if we look closely here, you'll see that the main logo here takes up most of the height of the door. So there's the mirror, and then there's on where you see the bottom of the door, it's nearly touching the bottom of the door. So when I put the digital calipers up here, because there's a little bit of a gap at the top and the bottom, so I did that, and it comes to about 36 millimeters. So what we need to do here is we're not going to worry about width, we're just going to worry about the height. So it will be, so this is in centimeters, so it'll be 3.6 centimeters, and there we go. So simple as that. So 3.6 centimeters high by 4.16 centimeters wide. So that is that. So now what we'll do is we need another 2 of these. So we will click off it and click it again. Then we go to, where is, because I've, of course, duplicate. All right. So now we have 3 of these. Now we also need to figure out the number 3. So we'll need three threes with the square around it. So it's not as big. So we can assume when you look at, because what it helps to do is to look at the molding of the doors and use them as a reference. So you can see that there's that mold line there and the mold line there. Same here, mold line, and then the top where the door handle is. I'm sorry, it's clear. So it goes just a bit above it, and it's about 30 millimeters, or about 32 millimeters. So what we'll do is we will go to our text. So we will have the number 3, and we might see if we can change the font. So give me a sec, guys. I'll just have to pause here for a second and look for the font. Alright, it was staring me right in the face. So we have the bold, which is what that is there. So the number 3 is bold. So what we'll do is we'll duplicate that 3 times. So now we have our numbers, well, our 3 main number 3 numbers. Now what we'll do is we'll make the large number 3, and that's in bold, and it goes on the roof here. So what we'll do is with our calipers, we'll make it about, let's see, because we got to factor in width. So if we go 8 centimeters in height, that'll make it 5 centimeters in width. So 50 millimeters, and that will fit perfectly on the roof. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to finish up doing these on here, because just to save on time, and I'll be back with all the completed decals. All right, so we have our the design that I want. So these are for these are all that I will need. So what we will do now is we will go to make, and of course I'm using this as a small width because it's for the Cricut Joy, not the Explore 3. What I will need is my Cricut mat to place it on. It's an adhesive mat, as you can see. It's sticky. So we will put it on the mat, and it's a 30.5 by 30.5. So we will confirm. Now what we can do is have it so we can move things around a little bit, just so we've got a few centimeters to work with, because it's 13.9 centimeters wide, so we'll try and keep it around the 12 centimeter area. What I'll do is I'm just going to pause it here quickly so I can just focus on rearranging how I want it, and I'll be back. Alright, so I've arranged it so it will fit in the area that I have. So that's with the grid lines off, so as you can see, that's how it'll look. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to pause the camera again, as I'm going to get the vinyl out and put it on the adhesive layer, on the adhesive mat, and we're going to go from there. Alright, so we have the vinyl set up, we have the cutter on. So what we will do now is we will go to continue. Now I have Bluetooth connectivity to this, so you have to give it a few seconds. And yeah, it's connecting. Alright, now we have to select Smart Permanent Vinyl. So now it's ready. And you watch, this won't work now. Alright, well, made a liar of me, so here we go. So what it's doing now, so it's cutting, and as you can see, this is the progress. Shouldn't take too long, but so far so good. Alright, so it is done. So now you can probably just see it there in the light as I move it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off the mat, and what I'm also going to do is take off all the excess. Unfortunately, with this process there is a lot of waste, but that's the price you pay to make your own decals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off, then get rid of the waste, and then we'll see the finished part thing. Alright guys, so as you can see, I have got rid of all the excess vinyl that will not be used. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut out, mount and paint the body for the car, and I'll be back to show how to apply the decals. So stay tuned. Alright, so we now have all the decals cut out and ready. We have the shell painted and cut out. Also, the shell does come with its own decals, and I've just gone and put, you know, the lights and the grille and the tail lights on and everything. So what we're ready to do now is start putting on the decals. For the record too, one thing I forgot to mention is one of the things you will need is transfer tape. And what this does is, it's not really necessary, for instance, with like a single, like for instance the number 3, you know, you don't really need it. You can just peel it off and put it on. However, when you have complex things like this, the transfer tape, what it does is you put it over the top and then you push it down over your decal and then you carefully pull it back, and what that does is that will lift it off the paper here, and then you can place it onto whatever surface, hence transfer tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do this with the little tripod here for my GoPro, and show you how to do it. Now, one thing that does help to have is, as I showed before, you have your picture here for reference for the size and so forth, but also where to place decals. So what I'll do is I'll just set up the camera and do the first couple of decals for you, and what I will do is I will pause it, do the rest off camera, and I will be back. So give me a sec, guys. Alright, so as I mentioned before, it's good to have a picture for reference. So what we're going to do is put the large number 3 on the roof. So this won't require any. As I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by my camera deciding to stop recording. I'm going to put the large number 3 on the roof, and for this it won't need any transfer tape. Now it also pays to have your surface clean. So what we'll do now is put the number 3 on, carefully peel it off. And when you apply it, just slowly press it around. Simple as that. Just like you would with any RC decal. Now comes the fun part. So this is the part now where we need to start using transfer tape. So what I will do is, with the transfer tape here, I will cut out a square. You can reuse it. Just be careful how you apply it and how you peel off the decal. So just give me a quick second. Okay, so all you need is enough to go over the decal. So I'll just peel it off, and like I was saying before, use for like a replica that you're doing, always use the pictures as a reference, as it makes it a lot easier. So very carefully. Now when it comes to taking it off, depending on the brand that you're using, be very thorough in like rubbing your finger over the area. It doesn't have to be over the entire area of the transfer tape, but just where the transfer tape is touching the decal. Now here, this is where it's going to get interesting, because I've got to really be careful now, because you got the wreath, which is all the little separate leaves. They're not joined in any way. So now I've got to carefully peel it back, and take your time with this. So I might speed this up. Alright, I decided to just pause the filming. Honestly, it was just going to take, it took me ages. I had to carefully peel this off and push every leaf down onto the transfer tape as I peeled it back, because it just didn't want to stick to it. So yeah, so what I'm going to do in this case, guys, because it's really going to be more of the same thing, is I'm going to put the decal on, and then what I will then do is I'll just do the rest off camera and then do the reveal. So what we'll do is firstly we'll look at our picture. Obviously this is the left side pictured here, and I'm doing the right side. So we just got to line it up with where it is on the door. So it is close to the end of the door and up a bit. So take your time with this, guys. Because remember, in this case, you only get one shot at it. Now it doesn't matter too much if the transfer tape crinkles a little bit. It's really the decal that you want to have perfect. Alright, so remember to push it onto the surface. Make sure you follow all the contours of the body lines and so forth. Now comes the really delicate part, is slowly pull off the transfer tape. And there you have it. So that is one JPS decal put on. 2 more to go. So what, like I said, guys, what I'm going to do now is, so I showed you the basic, just putting it on the roof here without transfer tape and with transfer tape. So now what I'm going to do is off camera, I'm going to do the rest and we'll see the reveal. Alright guys, so as we see here, it's all done and came out pretty good. I did have I had a few little issues, but one of the main issues was, as you can see here, with the JPS logo, you have the wreath around it. When I went to put the wreath on, or put the decal up against, put the transfer tape on, as I was slowly peeling it off, I had issues with the wreath, because these are all individual leaves. They're none of, apart from the ones right down the bottom here, they're all that are connected. All these are all separate leaves, and I had an issue with the wreath, and so I'll end up redoing the wreath at some point. one other issue I had is because of the wording is fairly small. As I went to peel it off, and had trouble with some of the words coming out a bit squirrely, but as you can see, it came out pretty good. Probably the second hardest one was the actual John Player Special name on the rear wing here, but as you can see, when it comes to creating your own decals and things like that, honestly, it is, apart from the limit of the machine that you're using, your imagination is really just the limit. So as you can see, it come out pretty good, and I am happy with the outcome. I'm not happy with the body though. The body has its own decals, and yeah, they're crap. They're constantly lifting off, and I'm pushing them down. Like you can, I don't know if you can see here, they're lifting up, and yeah, it's a pain in the neck. But decals that I made for the shell came out pretty good. I'm happy with that. So that's for external decals. Now I'm not going to go through the entire process with the internal paint masks. However, what I've done, like they say on those commercials, here's one I prepared earlier. So as you can see here, it's all on the inside. So when you're doing internal decals, especially if you are doing words and symbols and things like that and logos, always make sure that the decal or the internal paint mask that you're making is mirrored. So, and by that, where's one I can... Okay, so as you can see here, we have Futaba, and that's it here. That's how it comes out when the vinyl cutter cuts it out. So you want it mirrored, so that way when you peel it off, put it onto the transfer tape, it comes off and it ends up, you're putting it up against it like that. So that's how it comes out. So make sure all the letters and numbers and whatever you're using or intend to put on the inside, make sure that it is mirrored. And that doesn't just go for the Cricut program that I use, but any program that you're using for vinyl cutting. So that's pretty much it. And as you saw at the start of the video with some of the shells that I have done, that's how I go about doing it. So that's the end of this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know it's fairly long. I wanted to explain as much as possible. So if you have any questions or anything like that, please don't hesitate to comment. I will do my best to get back to you. But until then, guys, enjoy your hobby and cheers.